was nothing could prepare me for the absolutely despicable, disgusting display of deceit, cowardice, and lying that is Micheal Eric Dyson. Now, he was on the Breakfast Club, and you would have figured by now these Negroes would have figured out to stop going there when they know I'm going to be listening, when they know I'm going to be checking it out. Micheal Eric Dyson goes on there, and I want you all to listen to the very first thing that he says coming out of the box. I want you all to listen to the very first, well, when they start talking to him, you can hear the first thing that he has to say about this. It was shameful. It was disgraceful. This whole interview is a litany of things we shouldn't be hearing. But this is Micheal Eric Dyson.
Well, we got a special guest in the building, Micheal Eric Dyson.
The
Welcome
good
back,
brother,
son.
Micheal Eric Dyson.
Man, it's good to be up here with y'all.
I see you got a nice little book in your hand. You just handed it to me, and now I'm so intrigued. I want to start reading this now.
I know, man. This thing is off the hook. Veronica Chambers is an extraordinary woman. She did that book, that edited book, collection essays on Michelle Obama that did so well last year. And then this new book, look, it's hot off the press. It ain't even out yet. It come out next month, called Queen Bee, a celebration of the power and creativity of Beyonce Knowles Carter.
Beyonce.
And I got an essay in there, all right, called The King of Pop and the Queen of Everything. Okay. And my argument is that Beyonce snatched the crown from Michael Jackson. I saw him at his height. I don't know if y'all went to his concerts and saw him at his height, but I did. And he was extraordinary. He was a genius. But what she's doing is on another level. I mean, nonstop, 2.5 hours. You know that old thing that said that Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers were partners, back in the day, and she did everything Fred Astaire did except backwards and in high heels. And that's what I feel about Beyonce, an extraordinary genius. She doesn't get credit for the remarkable way in which she changed the musical vocabulary of.
No, I'm serious. This is what Micheal Eric Dyson just said.
That edited book, collection essays on Michelle Obama that did so well last year. And then this new book, look, it's hot off the press. It ain't even out yet. It come out next month, called Queen Bee, a celebration of the power and creativity of Beyonce Knowles Carter.
Beyonce.
And I got an essay in there, all right, called The King of Pop and the Queen of Everything. Okay. And my argument is that Beyonce snatched the crown from Michael Jackson. I saw him at his.
No, brothers and sisters. That is what this jigaboonin' jackass just said. He just sat here and literally said that Beyonce snatched the crown from Michael Jackson. Now, I want to ask you all a question right now, and Micheal Eric Dyson and his wife listen to my program, and I'm going to make some enemies tonight, but so be it. Have you all ever in your lives heard white people say that any music group anywhere, quote, snatched the crown from the Beatles? I want you all to talk to me right now. In your lives, have you ever heard anybody in white society say, yeah, the Beatles used to be the greatest band ever, but Metallica snatched the crown. The Beach Boys snatched the crown. NSYNC snatched the crown. Have you all ever heard white society speak that way about their icons? The ones who have death, the ones who are no longer here, the ones who are etched in stone because they're no longer here. Have you all ever heard them say that anybody snatched Elvis Presley's crown? Anybody. Even, look here, I was there when Michael Jackson put out Thriller, the greatest music album ever sold. I was there when, in a few short months, he shattered every single record, every single historical record that Elvis Presley had made. Michael Jackson didn't just break them, he shattered them into dust. And nobody in white society. This was, by the way, they didn't call it pop music back then. They called it rock back then too. Nobody would say that Michael Jackson was the king of rock and roll. Michael Jackson tried to say it, but white society made it very clear, we're not gonna go along with that. MTV and the rest of them, don't you dare try to say you're the king of rock and roll. That was when they had to say, okay, Michael is the king of pop. Michael is the king of pop. Michael is the king of the music industry. Michael had one album. He didn't need a bunch of albums. He just needed one. And yet white society would not acknowledge him as the king of rock and roll. They had to make a new term. Oh, it's pop. You're the king of pop. That wasn't a term that was used back in 83. Nobody was using that term back in 81, 82, 83 when MTV started, 84. Nobody was using that term. They created that term to say, okay, Mike, you can be the king of pop. Don't nobody lay a hand on Elvis. And we ain't gonna help you do it. And to this day, understand something, forget Michael Jackson. Anybody listening to me, to this day, is there anybody that they refer to as the king of rock and roll other than Elvis Aaron Presley? Can you name one? Can you name anybody who has been referred to as the king of rock and roll? Nobody. And for Micheal Eric Dyson to sit here and say something so putrid, for him to sit here and say something so absolutely disgusting, because he don't give a damn about Beyonce Knowles. This Negro will name drop anybody anywhere to try to keep his ridiculous ass relevant. But this is treason. Beyonce Knowles would never tell you that she snatched the crown from Michael Jackson. And for this bootlicking jackass to sit up here and say something like this is treasonous. You got white society trying to diminish Michael Jackson at every turn, making false propaganda-ass, quote, documentaries that are straight slander. And for a guy who claims he was there when Michael was alive, let me tell y'all about when Michael was alive. You can go and take a look at the documentaries that were made about him back in the 80s when Thriller came out. When Michael used to go overseas, remember you can go look it up on Google, there's the famous pictures, I saw the video of it when it was happening, the famous pictures of him when he went to Europe and they had dozens of police officers around him when he was jogging down the ramp to go to the stage to the stadium. This guy had to have dozens of police around him. When he would stay in Europe, the white women, this was all seas of white women, would be outside of the hotel, camped out. He would be on an upper floor with a balcony, and they were literally camped outside the hotel day and night and in the rain, waiting for Michael Jackson to come out on the balcony like the Pope making an appearance at the Holy See. No, I'm not making that up. You can go look it up for yourselves. Will someone tell me the last time that Beyonce Knowles had men or women camped outside of her hotel in the rain and in the elements waiting for her to make an appearance from her hotel balcony? And even if she didn't, they felt grateful just to know where she was. Will someone explain that to me? Beyonce has about 100 paparazzi. She don't have 100 fans following her down the street. Michael Jackson, they used to have to bring a squadron of ambulances to his concerts, not because women were passing out from the heat, but because they were passing out from exhilaration. Micheal Eric Dyson tells you that he saw it, and yet he didn't mention any of this. We're going to have to compare apples to apples. Beyonce is a hit. Nobody can take that away from her. But to try to compare Beyonce Knowles to Mike Tyson would be like comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. There simply is no comparison. You don't cross over into this, dude. You ain't got that type of status, symbolically or numerically. You ain't got it. There are no ambulances lined up at Beyonce's concerts to take the people who pass out on a stretcher. There are no hotels where the fans are lined up surrounding the streets and clogging up traffic by the hundreds, hoping to get a glimpse of her. It ain't happening. There was nobody. By the way, remember when she had their child, Blue Ivy? There were no scores of people at the you knew what hospital she was at. Will someone show me the video of Beyonce's hundreds of fans lined up at the hospital hoping to get a glimpse of her in the window with her newborn baby? Can someone tell me when that happened? Do you have a picture? Do you have a video? Do you have a GIF image? What the hell is Micheal Eric Dyson talking about? He sounds like the old bat crap crazy nigga trying to say whatever crazy thing he can because he wanted to get in somebody's book so maybe he can get a little bit of royalties off of it. But when you start making up science fiction like this so you can kiss ass, now that I got a problem with. That I got a problem with. This is an issue. I got a problem when somebody goes this far out of their damn way to sit up here and say, okay, well, let me see if I can make a name for myself on Michael Jackson. He could have simply said Beyonce is fire and been done with it. But to make up this hideous, slanderous lie, now that's going too far. I don't give a damn how big the Black Channel gets, how many documentaries I sell, how much the media repeats what I say. I will never be in the ballpark of a Huey Newton, of a Fred Hampton, who died when he was much younger than I am, of Malcolm X, of Dr. King, men who died younger than me, than I am now. I will never be able to approach them. You can't snatch the crown off of God.